How to develop an information security strategy. This is for your entire organization. You have to have a desired future state of the organization. What security you want, how much protection you want. Remember, you can have too much protection, you can spend too much, it's not cost effective, not a good idea, but not having enough protection can damage you as well, opening you to attacks that otherwise you could avert. So define your desired future state, establish goals and objectives of the strategy. What are you protecting? What are your assets? Why are you protecting them? How much are they worth? Establish the objectives and define control acceptable levels of risk. An acceptable level of risk is what you're willing to eat effectively, how much harm you're willing to accept. You drive, you have a car, you maintain it to reduce the chances of having an accident. You make sure you have good brakes, so when you press the brake pedal, you actually stop instead of merging with the car ahead of you the hard way. You make sure your windshield is clean, so you can see the car ahead of you before you hit them. You get a safe car, so if you do have an accident, the amount of damage is reduced. These are mitigating factors. You transfer liability to the insurance company, take out an insurance policy. If you have an accident, they pay. They charge you less if you have a safe car and you've got a safe driving record. So your mitigation reduces the amount of cost for the transfer of liability, assigning risk out. And when you're done, you paid insurance, you still have an accident. Well, if you had a safe car, the amount of damage done is probably less. Insurance is going to pay off the claim, but there's usually a part that we haven't mentioned yet that you have to pay out of pocket. It's called the deductible. The deductible is the amount that you said that you're willing to eat if there is an accident. You're going to pay it out of pocket. It's the residual risk after mitigation and assignment. It's the acceptable risk that you're willing to assume. And you want to bring risk down to an acceptable level so you can deal with it as an organization. Remember, management will only take on new tasks and new risk if other risk is at an acceptable level and they can manage it. Define a roadmap for implementing the strategy. As you look to implement new controls, assign things out. It has to fit in with all your other architecture. You have a framework that you've created. You're going to architect a solution. Locate and identify all information assets. And bear in mind, not all assets are tangible. What people think of your organization. They like you, they want to do business with you. I fly a certain airline because I happen to like them better than another airline which I really cannot stand and will go out of my way to avoid, even if it's at a lower fare, because I just don't like their service. So how people think of you has value. It's not just your servers, it's not just the cash on hand. There's intangibles. Classify information assets. Some things are going to be more critical, trade secrets versus something that you just published. If you publish it, your financials, right on the day you deliver your financial information, it's no longer secret. The day before, incredibly valuable. I think of trading places with the orange juice futures. The day they publish, not a big deal. Everyone knows it. No longer secret. Day before, people could buy or sell stock in a company and manipulate the price. It has a different value the day before publication. Determine the value of information assets. Some are more valuable than others. I think we got that with the previous part. Leverage resources. Policies come down from management. What management wants to see done. Standards. What are routine and customary for your organization. What you're expected to do. Standards are generally considered binding within the organization. Baselines, not on this slide. Baseline is usually the lowest acceptable level, usually statutory or regulatory requirement. If you go below that level, you're unfit to operate. I think of restaurants that use letter codes for cleanliness, such as they have an A in the window, all is clean, B, bathrooms are dirty, C, you're going to get your recommended daily allowance of cockroaches in the food. Avoid those places. Okay. There's baselines, C is a baseline. You can open with that. You go below C, the health department closes you down. Procedures are step-by-step instructions for carrying out the goals of the policy. Management says our systems need to be secure. You have procedures on how to install the antivirus, how to remove unnecessary services, unnecessary applications. Procedures are the step-by-step instructions. Now, all of this sounds great if you had an unlimited budget and unlimited manpower. You don't. You got constraints. You got legal constraints. There's only certain places you can put cameras. You may have agreements with the union that they're not to be monitored, in which case you can't put in cameras. Any contractual agreements you have that limit you, they limit. The law limits you. Physical constraints. Don't have space to put certain things in. You want to get that huge new UPS, but your server room is already crowded with racks and you don't have any space, you're not going to put it in. Financial. You don't have unlimited resources. You only have so much money, and you got to spend it wisely. You got to make trade-offs. You try to get the best bang for the buck, what's going to accomplish your goals better than anything else.